welcome to the Tea and a Buddy podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about questions that British people have for Americans.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yeah.
And lots of, practically all of Britain wrote in with their questions for Erica. Because she is the expert, no one else.
Well, we put it out on Twitter last week.
Yeah.
So our Twitter followers had plenty of time to answer, and for some reason we just had the thought this morning to put it on Instagram.
Yes.
So.
I mean, we're very good with social media, as you guess. You know, we're very good at all this stuff.
Speaking of social media,
yeah,
I think that our people who do not follow us on social media, which if you don't, why not? We're at TButty, TEABUTTY, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But they might not know that we made a special guest on someone else's podcast last week. Oh,
yes. I mean, because some of our followers might, some people who listen to this might not have social media.
Yeah, that's true.
They might have just found us naturally.
That's true. And you know what? Who can blame them for not having social media? Yeah.
But yes, we guested on a podcast recently. Podcast Royal with Rachel and Jessica.
Yes,
and it was so much fun.
It was so fun.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and that was our first time guesting on anyone else's podcast.
That was.
It was nerve-wracking. I'll say
it was nerve-wracking, but they just made us feel so welcome. So thank you guys for that.
So if you guys want to check that out, they're on all the podcasting platforms.
Yeah, Spotify, Apple.
Mm-hmm, Podcast Royal.
Yes, and they talk about the royal family.
Yeah,
of which I'm a valued member.
I wish?
Since Harry, you don't wish.
Well,
since Harry flew the coop, I'm now had to step up and be the spare.
Yeah,
I don't mind though.
So, if you guys want to go check that out, we talked about a lot of things about the royal family.
Yes,
and then just about our podcast.
And we played a great game, didn't we?
Yeah, they had a little game at the end.
Yes, which I won.
Yeah.
I didn't really win.
Oh, he did so well, you guys.
I did so well. You're going to have to go and listen to it to hear how well I did.
The only British person on the podcast, and I think he did the worst. Yeah.
Yes, you beat me on all that. Because it was all about today's, and I'm not over there anymore, so I don't know what's going on with my family.
But I am.
Imagine they had Harry and Meghan on.
Yeah.
And Harry, it's like, what's been, like one of their questions, and Harry didn't know. Harry got them all wrong. He's like, I have no idea.
You're comparing yourself to Prince Harry now.
Yes. Because Prince Harry doesn't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't speak to them anymore.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, you guys should definitely go check them out. Podcast Royal.
Podcast Royal, yes.
Yeah.
So moving swiftly along, we'll get into these questions, shall we?
Yes. Yeah.
Because we've got 500 of them to get through.
I haven't looked at them.
In the next 30 minutes.
We'll hear these questions together.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will. And most of them came from Twitter and Instagram, so if you asked, thank you.
Yeah.
Number 1 is, does Erica understand Spanish living in Texas?
That's a fair question.
Do you?
Because
I don't think you do you?
Texas shares a border with Mexico.
Yes.
So that's probably a fair question to ask any of the states, that share a border with Mexico. Or, you know what? Really, I think Spanish is like the second most spoken language in this country.
There's only 4 states that share a border with Mexico.
Yeah.
California.
Mm-hmm. Well, is this the quiz again?
Yeah, this is the quiz again.
This is our own
California,
quiz. And Dominic,
Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas.
Yeah. I can understand Spanish. It's not a prerequisite to live in Texas be able to speak or understand Spanish, just for anybody who might think otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, if it was, then I wouldn't be living here because I'm absolutely useless.
You're not, though.
I am, though.
You guys, I was so shocked. I think I've mentioned this in the podcast before, possibly, but the only time we've been to Spain together.
Yeah, that's the only time. Triumphant royal tour.
I was really shocked at how well Dominic did reading, the signs going around Spain. You were able to work them out so well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
I mean, considering the fact that you didn't take any Spanish
and I didn't even look
at
the phone either.
No.
I mean, I just kind of figured it out. It's like,
what do you mean, like Google the translation?
Google the translation
no.
or something.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't take it in school at all. So.
No, I didn't. I took French, and I'm terrible at French.
Whereas I have a fluent Spanish-speaking grandmother, along with my mom's maternal side of the family.
Yes,
are all mostly Spanish, fluent Spanish speakers. They speak English, of course, because they live in Texas. But, and I took Spanish in school starting in 7th grade, I think. So I took it 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then 2 more years in college. So you would think that I could carry on such a conversation in Spanish.
Well,
you would think that I wouldn't just like bam, 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 bam. But I can understand.
Well, I relied on you in Spain to talk to people.
I can communicate.
You just like,
but it's one of those things that if you don't practice it all the time, I to be fair to myself, I actually surprise myself on many occasions at how much Spanish I actually do know, because I feel like because I don't use it most of the time, it's use it or lose it kind of thing.
All Spanish.
I think I can read it better than I can understand it when someone's speaking it to me, because they tend to speak...
I can definitely read it better than...
They tend to speak quite quickly.
Yes,
So if I could just get them to slow down, but that's a lot more than you probably wanted to know. Yes, I can understand Spanish.
Yes. I mean, I can...
It comes in handy
understand bits and pieces, very little.
It comes in handy to be able to communicate in Spanish, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one of my first jobs was working in the grocery store, and we had so many just only Spanish speakers that would come, I was a cashier. They would come through my line. Yeah,
getting a job here, it's very, very handy to be bilingual.
Oh, yes.
It's like, do you speak Spanish? Tick, yeah, get in here. You know?
When you go to school, you have the choices, we did anyway. Spanish, French,
German.
I want to say German, Spanish, French, because I wanted to take Italian.
And Welsh.
And Welsh, yeah. But they didn't offer Italian, unfortunately. But and sign language is always an option as well. But
yeah.
But yeah, comes in handy to know Spanish.
Yes.
Yeah, we better move on. This is going to be a long
Moving
podcast.
Swiftly along here now.
I'll try to keep the rest of the answers short.
Yes. Question number 2, because I've got 10 here, so. What do you like and dislike most about living in the States?
Have we ever done a podcast on that topic?
Yeah, I think we have.
About me, about what
I think
I
don't know.
We've done it about you.
Done it about me, yeah. I'm the star of the show.
But I think that's a really interesting question, isn't it? To ask an American, what do you like and dislike?
What do you like and dislike about living in the United States of America?
I mean, I dislike, not to get too political.
Oh, is it political time? Is it?
But I dislike the gun issue, to be perfectly honest, and that is people being so stuck on being able to own guns and being able to carry their guns with them. And, I really cannot get on board with that, especially when we have so many mass shootings in this country every year.
Yeah.
I don't know that I am necessarily totally against people owning guns, because I don't, I think it's kind of impossible to say, that's it, no more guns, but it's just, I don't like guns.
I mean, I thought you were going to talk about, like, health insurance and all that kind of thing.
That's probably...
That's the second one?
Yeah, and which one is more important to me, I don't know, because I really, really, really dislike the gun thing. But
get shot with a gun, you have to pay for it.
Yeah, if you get shot and you're lucky enough to survive, you've got to then pay the medical expenses. I mean, sometimes in a situation like that...
Insurance
when it goes into court and all of that, you can get the money back from the person who's done it. In theory, you can sue for
sue them. Yeah.
Civil action lawsuit and stuff, but I mean, you don't want to think about that when you're bleeding out. Do you?
It's not the first thought on your mind when that's happening.
You
No.
don't want to think about, I'll take that guy to court later, and
I'll take that guy to court. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
No, the health insurance situation in this country is an absolute disaster. I appreciate so much the fact that in the UK you can get sick. And you don't have to worry about it.
And be okay, not worry about the financial, is it going to bankrupt me? You know, do I have my insurance up to date?
Because, Dominic and I don't like to get too deeply personal in these podcasts, but we don't currently have health insurance at the moment. I will just say, we're self-employed. We don't currently have health insurance at the moment. And it's scary just to think absolutely anything could happen. And how are we going to pay for it?
Well, yeah.
That's just terrifying. And nobody should have to live like that. That's absurd. It is absolutely absurd that people should be terrified that they should get sick, God forbid, which just happens in life. It's just natural that every once in a while you're going to get sick. You might need to go to the doctor. You might need to go to the hospital, unfortunately, And you deserve to be taken care of without having to worry about how am I now going to pay these thousands and thousands of dollars in medical bills. Yeah. It's just it's a travesty, really. And I mean, nothing that they've come up with so far has in my mind been good. I mean,
no.
Yeah,
no,
and I know, and I know the NHS has its
faults, its drawbacks and everything,
and you do hear stories being real,
waiting months and all this kind of stuff, and waiting times
of people dying, waiting waiting to get the care that they need, and that's not right either. I'm not saying the NHS is perfect, whatsoever, but if I have,
but at least they're not bankrupt on it. But yeah.
I was going to ask a question, but you know what? I said I was going to keep these answers short. So,
what do you like about America?
I mean,
moving swiftly along.
What do I like? I mean, I like living here. I can't say that I don't, but to think about something that I actually like what do I like? I like the fact that we can make our voices heard by going and voting, which you don't have the right to do necessarily in every country in this world.
Especially not in the UK. You're barred from voting in the UK. It's not a free country like America, you see.
I think this is an
joking.
I think this is an absolutely beautiful country. There's a lot to see and a lot to do, and it would take a lifetime to see and all that is just available in this country. Road trip across
America. Oh yeah, road trip across America. This is great. It'd take a long time to actually properly do it, because that's one of the first things we're going to do when we get our camper van and fix up, is do a road trip across America.
Get our camper van that will...
Yeah, because everyone's doing that
now.
We'll
do our series on YouTube.
Everybody's doing it,
We bought a van!
We bought a van, and we're not going to even bother to renovate it, because we can't be bothered. We just want to drive it across America and hit up every Buc-ee's on the way.
Wouldn't that be, I think they're only in Texas. Well, maybe not, but
it actually takes a lifetime to drive across Texas.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Drive it up to Alaska.
If we did a series on YouTube, like we bought a van, and we literally just threw a mattress in the back of it. We just went.
And you
we're not going to try to fix this up.
You call vans and stuff like minivans, don't you? Which are known in Britain as people carriers. Isn't every car a people carrier? It's like, no. A car has a driver and a passenger and maybe another passenger too. But it's like, there's a lot of people can be fit into one of those people carriers.
Yeah.
It's just like all the people, It's like a little small bus.
I don't know. There's a lot of things I like about this country. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but it's just difficult when you're kind of put on the spot to go, oh, what do I like? I feel like I'm here like stroking my chin like, what do I like? And it's just like tick, 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 tick.
We're going to do the Jeopardy theme there. I thought
Yeah.
we were going to do... Anyway, moving swiftly
Anyway, yeah.
along. Question 3 is, why do Americans never buy property? It seems like you tend to move from one place to another all the time. Don't you just want to have your own lovely nest?
I mean, do Americans never buy property? I think that's the American dream, really.
Well, I mean, the American dream, are they still dreaming? Are they just renting and,
It depends on where you live. If you live in middle America in a small town, you own your house.
You own your house. You've got your white picket fence. You've got your flag in the yard. And that's required by federal law to have a flag in the yard. If you don't have that flag, they're coming to get you. They're coming to get you. The government's coming to get my flags.
I really don't know the statistics on this. I'm not sure that, I can understand this question coming from like a city. Like, I guess in cities, a lot of people
have
do
apartments.
Rent.
They rent their apartments, condominiums. They're paying someone for the privilege of living in that house,
building or that house or whatever.
So, and there's a lot of people just like, oh, it costs a lot, to live in America, because you haven't bought anything. But I'm sure property taxes are why people rent massively high.
Yeah, Austin particularly, guys.
Yeah,
the property taxes are astronomical. Yeah,
$2 billion.
I think what's the most expensive city to live in besides like New York City? I think it's San Francisco.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, there's some very, very expensive cities. If you own a property, then your property taxes are just through the roof.
You're paying $2 billion every week.
As far as moving, I think moving probably just depends. I don't think people in America just necessarily want to move all the time. Like, oh, sick of this place. I want to go.
Let's just up and move. Get on the railroad.
Yeah, I think that again has to do with cost. The place that you're living in, you're renting and the rent goes up. Yeah. And it's just like, can I afford it doing the job that I'm doing, or do I need to move to a different place?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's all that has to do with. But I think there's plenty of people who own their own house here. Yeah.
Number 4.
And not just the wealth. Oh. And, well, no.
You're not finished yet. Sorry.
And not just the wealthy. I don't want to make it sound like property taxes are so expensive that only the really wealthy can own. Because in middle America...
You're middle class.
You're middle class. You make enough.
There's no class system over here.
You make enough.
It's not acknowledged.
We've had that discussion before.
Yeah.
You make enough that you can cover your property taxes and the upkeep of your own house and all of that. And so yeah.
So number 4.
Yes.
Number 4. It's a light-hearted one. Why do you pronounce garage and cabbage differently?
This question could be like, garage and cabbage. You just pronounced it differently as well.
No, I didn't. Garage and cabbage. You say garage and cabbage.
Yeah. But you say garage.
And cabbage.
It's not...
Garage and cabbage. Garage and cabbage.
Garage. It's not cat. Yeah, I guess it is cabbage.
Cabbage.
Garage.
Cabbage.
Cabbage.
Garage.
I don't know.
Cabbage.
That must... Oh my
Garage.
God. OMG. I think that probably has to...
Cabbage.
It must have... It sounds French. Garage.
I don't know what... in my garage. I put my car in my garage.
Yeah. But there's a lot of words in British accents, in British English, that you guys don't pronounce the same. Because I've seen that question as well, too. How come you pronounce Craig? How come you pronounce Craig and rain differently?
Craig rain.
Yeah.
I say it rhymes with rain. Yeah.
Garage. To me, it sounds like the French influence in this country.
And then in Wales, you've got stuff like graig.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means as well. Graig. Graig.
Oh, you're just saying that the AI sounds
the
like
AI, Graig. Or Aig.
Yeah,
I think actually
words.
It might be AE. I'm not sure. I haven't lived in Wales for a long time.
Well, no,
they might have changed letters around. Again, I don't know.
The shortening of the name David in Welsh is Die, though, and that's D-A-I.
D-I. Yeah, I mean, that's just a a peculiarity.
I think there's probably words in American English that are AI and you pronounce I over here as well. You know, it's...
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The answer...
We don't know.
Don't know.
We just don't know.
Garage and cabbage, yeah.
Rain and Craig, and of course there's a meme that goes around. It's like, oh, British people drop the T when they say British. They say British. British.
Yeah.
And it's like, British, innit? And it's like, well, you're talking
that's
to
just some certain people.
Certain people. I mean, I don't know who those are.
Oh my goodness, that's that's only certain
terrible people. Terrible, I tell you. Anyway.
I mean, I could start saying cabbage if that'll...
Cabbage.
Maybe it'll catch on. I don't know.
I was cooking some cabbage earlier. Would you like some cabbage, my dear? Thank you, my dear.
Oh my gosh.
Number 5. What is a typical American breakfast?
I mean, I guess the answer I'm supposed to give is probably pancakes, scrambled eggs, and bacon. Do you think? Is that the answer they're looking for? I mean, you can't say anything.
Number 6 leads on from this. So
I mean,
number
you can't
6,
say anything is a typical American breakfast because
pancakes and
pancakes,
bacon,
I guess,
and
pancakes
sausage
and bacon,
egg.
Yeah. If you
scrambled,
I'm trying to think like
very yellow.
What is it at IHOP? You can order the all-American breakfast.
Yeah, because that's funny because
and
it's an English breakfast sausage, and all that.
It's like pancakes, sausage, scrambled eggs, and bacon. Maybe like a fruit cup, but really they just throw the fruit
full
in
English
there
breakfast,
to be healthy.
It's like, there's no like full American breakfast.
No, the classic American they would
classic
say.
American,
or all American.
All American way. Number 6 is: do you always have peanut butter or cornflakes? Is it just a bowl of peanut butter or a bowl? For breakfast. Do you just have peanut butter or cornflakes?
Do you just have peanut butter or cornflakes?
Do you always have peanut butter or cornflakes?
Do you always? Yeah. Oh my gosh!
It leads on from what's a typical American breakfast.
That
it's like, do a bowl of peanut butter.
That's hilarious because you do really think that we have peanuts and peanut butter and everything.
Yes, it's like Winnie the Pooh's honey.
I don't really know anyone that has peanut butter for breakfast. Actually,
peanut butter toast.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, that's like a lunch, though. You would have that for lunch.
And I have it with chips.
Chips, yes.
Yes, I know, that's the salty, sweet
When you
thing.
say chips, it weirds me out, because I always think you're getting it wrong.
You're getting
I'm like,
it
you
wrong.
mean crisps?
Well, there you go. That answers you, the expert right here. Because she just doesn't know. She's like, what are you saying to me? Are you saying chips?
I don't know. It's very confusing living with you. I don't know.
Very confusing. I'm very confused right now.
Do you always have peanut butter? No. I don't. No. I mean, I have.
You haven't had peanut butter for a while, have you?
I guess you know what I do. Like a slice of peanut butter toast with a grapefruit sometimes for breakfast.
I've noticed you that.
That way you get a little bit of the protein, carbs, and then fruit. But no, I don't always have peanut butter. Cornflakes, I guess we do
peanut butter cornflakes?
We do have cornflakes pretty often, though.
And peanut butter cereal.
Yeah.
Obsessed with that, aren't you? Reese's peanut butter cereal.
Reese's peanut butter cereal is the best, okay?
Okay, number 7, and this is, you've got to give a definitive answer on this. Now, why do you still use Fahrenheit? Why? Why do you still use Fahrenheit, Erica?
Because we hate change in this country. We hate it.
There was something, I think, in the 1970s.
That's
maybe
why people want to hold on to
Jimmy
their guns,
Carter.
too. It is the Second Amendment, and it is forever the law that we should be able to own guns, okay? It does not matter
use Fahrenheit.
how much times change. Yes, and we will use Fahrenheit. It doesn't matter if everywhere in the rest of the free world stops using Fahrenheit and has absolutely no idea what we're talking about. We demand it is our God-given American right to use Fahrenheit. No, I have no idea why. I think it is. I think genuinely because it probably has something to do with cost. Maybe. It would cost too much to change everything over and start teaching kids how to use Celsius and whatever.
Too much effort, mate.
Yeah.
Everything in this metric system.
Everything in this country has to do with money, you know.
Yes.
Is what it boils down to.
Yeah, because I think there was a program in the 70s with Jimmy Carter. They were going to do that, or maybe it was Gerald Ford. I don't know. They were going to change America over to the metric system, and it never happened. I mean, I guess because Reagan got elected, and that was the end of that.
It's because Fahrenheit's better. I don't know. It's just better.
So what do you think of this next
32
one?
degrees is freezing. The end.
0 degrees. 8. Number 8. Is the flag as important to everyone as we were all led to believe?
These questions are really putting me on the
Yes,
spot.
they are, because you've got to answer for them.
It just depends on who you ask, really. Probably the generation and whether or not they're a veteran or have a veteran in their family. It just depends on who you ask.
America.
A lot of people, I'd say no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because, it's like they're seen as nationalists. In Britain, if you're like really into the Union flag, the Union Jack, as everyone insists on calling it, even though it's only the Jack on sea.
Yeah.
People are like viewed as nationalists and like, oh yeah, you're like zealots and whatever,
Yeah.
And I guess that's how it's viewed over here from a British perspective too. It's like everyone who's obsessed with their like patriotism and saluting the flag and keeping the flag up and
I think
and waving it, putting peanut butter all over it.
No, you mentioned earlier people having flags in their flag posts in their yard.
Yeah.
Flag poles. I think that if you are probably, and this is completely a generalization, so do not quote me on this, but I think if you're a millennial and younger, if you see someone with a flagpole in their yard, you probably assume the same thing, that they're like crazy nationalists, like don't go near them if you're not white and descended from Britain or Europe they vote Republican and have guns in their house and I think you would probably assume that if you're a millennial and younger in most cases. And again, that's a generalization. For some people, like I think the flag means quite a bit to my mom, just because my grandfather fought in World War II.
It's veterans.
And he would fly it, and, they give veterans the flag when they die, they cover their caskets with it, and, then they fold it up and present it to the widow and all of that. Yeah. So it's all very, like, it really just depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a whole thing, like every single American is like a flag waving, like patriot, like anti, all the other countries or whatever. And even if you are into the flag, which is a representation of our country and being into this country, it doesn't mean that you're afraid of other countries, or
and it's you're not xenophobic or anything like that. No, it's
because you've mentioned on this podcast several times, I think, that a lot of the time people who have and you did earlier too, the people who have the Union flag are seen as nationalists and all of that, and that's not always true, is it? Because you see like mods, they love the Union flag, don't they? In decor and in like
I mean and it's kind of like it's prevalent in British culture a lot, like people say, oh, the flag's on everything over in America, blah blah blah, but it's the same in Britain. It's you look at you go into a grocery store and you pick up a bag of potatoes and it's like grown in Britain, and they got the Britain flag,
it's got the little flag.
And sometimes they've even like somehow genetically modified the flag into like the crisps.
What?
Like into the potato. You cut into the potato and it's all striped in there.
I was really with you. I was like, really? And I was like, no.
No, on some of the Walker's crisps, they show like a half like cut potato and it's got like, the imprint of the British flag.
What? Yes.
on it, Yes, I mean, it's just...
On the packaging,
on the packaging, yes.
You don't actually open a bag of Walker's Crisps and,
That would be cool, though. It's like, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's like 100% grown in Britain, or, like these aubergines were grown in Britain.
Yeah.
These tomatoes, British.
Yeah.
The best of British,
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing, it's the same sort of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Number 9. Why do you drop the H from herbs, and the L from solder? Very peculiar.
Solder?
Soda. You say solder, don't you? I've got to solder that up. Like solder.
Solder. No, I think we say solder. Oh, God. Solder. I don't know. I've been married to you too long.
You got to solder that up. You got to solder...
yeah, I guess we say solder.
The panel there. Just get the solder iron. The soldering iron.
Yeah. I really have no explanation.
Soldering iron. Yeah. Solder it. Solder it.
I don't use
like
that
Soda
word.
Island from
I don't use
Thomas the Tank Engine.
I don't use that word often enough to know.
You haven't been using your soldering iron, have you?
But herbs, I say all the time. Yeah, we
herbs.
Season it up with some herbs.
Like herbs. It's like it's an H.
It comes from. I don't understand why
it's French.
Yes, British people do not, for some reason, understand that this country, and we're going to talk more about it.
We're going to talk more about it
in the next podcast.
Maybe.
Yeah. So tune in to that on Thursday
for
more information about this. But British people seem to forget that America is not just made up of British people. Just because you guys are like the original ones who colonized us, you're not the only ones who ever came to this country. We didn't all descend from British people alone. So
but you're all speaking English.
So we do speak English, yeah. We take influences from
my language,
from the French and from the Spanish and probably from the German. Actually,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's especially down here in Texas.
Yeah. And our language reflects that. So we say herbs. We say
soda.
Buffet.
Buffet.
Yeah.
I say buffet now.
Did you say buffet before you came here? You don't say herbs, though.
Herbs, no. I say herbs.
I think I almost say herbs now because it just sounds more like, why am I dropping the H? But it definitely comes from the
sounds a little pretentious, yeah.
I mean, in Britain, you
send
guys...
the gunboats in.
You guys say things that come from French also. Because I've looked this up,
Aubergine and rendezvous and all that kind of stuff.
Rendezvous, there you go.
Rendezvous.
I mean, that's not even an English word.
No,
though,
it's
so
not.
That's
not
exactly
aubergine.
The same thing, but...
Which is what? It's an
eggplant. I was like, what?
Okay, last question now, because we're running out of time. And it's a good one. What would you like to change in your country?
Oh, híjole. There you go. There's some Spanish for you.
Híjole.
There's too many things. I mean, we are definitely out of time. So, yeah, there's just too many things. Let's just start with healthcare for all.
Healthcare for all. Change all that overnight.
Yeah.
Roll it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Single payer.
I mean, that's probably the biggest thing at the moment. Yeah.
And that's all we have time for, I'm afraid. Erica Williams, thank you for joining us on this special edition of British People Demand Answers.
That is what it... I thought these were going to be like kind of lighthearted questions. My goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do this for you sometime. Just see what kind of questions they fire at you.
Yep. Put me on the spot. Put me in the mastermind chair.
What is it?
Specialist subject, everything.
Why do you insist on putting garlic in everything even though we have told you not to? Yes. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, we appreciate your support. Be sure to check out Podcast Royal with Rachel and Jessica. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.